the draft is over. Free agency is over. They've had a couple additional signings this past week in Ross Dwelly and DJ Humphries. Now that they've brought Ross Dwelly back and made other moves that were almost as important, are you more or less optimistic about the 49ers heading into this season?
I think I'm more optimistic than I was before the draft. I think they had a pretty good draft, and they addressed the trenches on the defensive side, which was a big issue. We'll see how these guys work out. I think this is the optimistic time of year, right? After the draft, as a fan, you're hopeful that every single one of these picks is going to work out. Not likely, but you're hopeful. They needed 3 defensive linemen in this draft. They got 3 defensive linemen who I like. So that is definitely encouraging. And then signing DJ Humphries is actually, I really like that one as well. Like, he's been beat up and injured quite a bit. He was not good on the Chiefs, but I think that probably had a lot to do with his injury. Now more time has passed. And if he's just a depth piece, that's great, because the reality is, knock on wood, hopefully it's not the case, but Trent Williams is not going to play a full season. Most likely. He typically doesn't over the last few years. So at some point, he's going to need to step in and play. And he's a Pro Bowl talent. He's a first-round talent. And the 49ers don't have any other first-round talents on the team outside of Trent Williams. So it's very encouraging that they addressed that as well. So I am more hopeful in this season, particularly because they have the easiest freaking schedule in the NFL, according to the statistic that you sent over to me this morning. So they, I expect them to have a good season. The key is, are these rookies going to develop? Is Christian McCaffrey going to be healthy? Is Brock Purdy going to bounce back from his last season, which wasn't great? Those are the big questions. And if they can do that, plus they got Ross Dwelly. I mean,
can you imagine Kittle, Farrell, and Dwelly on the field at the same time? Like, what would defenses, how could they even begin to defend that? Yeah. Who are you double covering? Is it Dwelly? It's hard to say.
It is.
I feel like I'm more optimistic too. I mean, I think bringing Saleh back to the organization, it was a great move, but like, once you finally saw him make moves or like put together his defense, I think it made me more optimistic, because I see what he's trying to put together, and I don't think he's done, but you can't do it in one off season. He clearly prioritized run defense. That makes sense to me. I think that's what you handle first, because if you can't stop the run, then you can't rush the quarterback. But if you can stop the run, at least you give yourself opportunities. And they have Nick Bosa, who's an elite pass rusher, and you have Robert Saleh, who can sort of scheme up the rest. And maybe he doesn't have enough talent to do it right now. Nick Martin's a pass rush threat. He's a blitzer. So is Upton Stout. So we haven't really seen Saleh's vision for that. But they're like one trade away. They could figure out that, like, Mikel's really an interior rusher, and we really do need one more edge rusher on third down. They can make that trade mid-season. There could be guys available. I mean, they may not be done, is one thing I want to say. And so I'm very optimistic about the defense, even though it's young. I think we've seen the Rams have a lot of success with the young defense the last couple of years. The Eagles as well. If you got a good coordinator, it can be done. PrizePicks is sponsoring the Cohn Zone this year. PrizePicks is the leader in daily fantasy and the best place to win cash while watching sports. And the best part about the app is it's really easy to use. To create a lineup, all you have to do is pick more or less on a few players' stats. I'm a Niners guy, so when I'm doing PrizePicks, I'm looking, the last couple of years, I'm looking at Deebo Samuel, because I know Deebo Samuel better than Deebo Samuel knows Deebo Samuel. So if it's like drops, I'm taking more. Or if it's like punches thrown towards his long snapper on the sideline during the fourth quarter of a game the 49ers will go on to win, I'm smashing more, because I know the 49ers and I'm a PrizePicks guy. Now, maybe they didn't have those exact plays, but they have so many plays that'll make your head spin. And you can play PrizePicks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Best part about it is the new user offer. PrizePicks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. So win or lose, you'll get $50 just for playing. That sounds like a win to me. Use promo code Cohn, COHN, to claim your $50 today. Tell them Grant sent you. Offense?
Before you go offense, I want to just touch on that. I can't see how they could be worse than last year. They may not be Steve Wilkes defense that went to the Super Bowl, but they're not going to be worse than last year. I mean, everyone, talks about losing Greenlaw and Huff. Well, they didn't even play last year. So it's going to be an improvement upon last year for sure. I'd bet money on that. Now, whether there's
last year's defense was interesting too, because like they gave up so many points, 29th most in the league, but they only gave up 5.2 yards per play, which was 8th fewest. So in certain ways, their defense wasn't awful. I mean, they still have some really good players in Fred Warner and Bosa and Lenore at all three levels, and now you have a much better coordinator. Like they could have a top 5 defense next year in terms of yards allowed. They could.
I think it's possible. Yeah.
Now with the offense, you made a good point for DJ Humphries. That was a good signing because that's a starting caliber player who might be on the bench. Nice to have that. I mean, I think he's probably an improvement over Jalen Moore as a left. I think he's a better left tackle than Jalen Moore. I could be wrong. He was hurt last year, but if healthy, I think he's better. Connor Colby and Drew Moss. We'll see. Late 7th round pick and an undrafted free agent. They both are really good athletes with short arms who have experience in his own blocking system. So guys who could be good run blockers for the Niners probably won't help much in pass protection. It's kind of par for the course. Fine. I like the running back picks. It's like you need guys who can get all the tough yards that Jordan Mason got, because that's not Garendo and it's not McCaffrey anymore. And you got Jordan James and Corey Kiner, both guys who are very tough runners, both guys who should make the team or could make the team. So I like that. You added another wide receiver. It's a little not where I would have taken him, but he seems super talented. He runs a 4.3. He's about 5'11". I think I'm more optimistic about the team. I think I am. Now, I'm not optimistic that Trent Williams is going to play a lot or that McCaffrey's going to play a lot or that Purdy's going to play a full season. I think you have so many questions on offense. Even Kittle, like how many games is Kittle going to miss? How many games is Purdy going to miss? How many games is Trent going to miss? How many games is Ayuk going to play? Those are the big questions.
They're not going to only win 6 games, I would hope. Like that. They got to do better than that. So there'll be an improvement in that regard. I'm not so sure about this Connor Colby, whether he'll even touch the field next year. To be real, I'm not sure he'll even be a factor. Maybe he will. But a 7th, what is he, 7th rounder, right? 7th?
You know who I'm interested in? Nick Zakelj. They drafted him like 3-4 years ago. 4 years ago. You've been developing him all this time. Is there anything there? Because I'm sure you'll give Spencer Burford a chance and maybe he's improved since we saw him in the Super Bowl, but they've never really been that happy with Spencer Burford. Ben Barch hasn't been able to stay healthy in his career. Is there anything there with Zakelj, or are these late round projects that the Niners take on at fruitless at offensive line? Make this your best season yet with nutritious 2-minute meals from Factor. Eating well has never been this easy. Just heat up and enjoy, giving you more time to do what you want. Get outside instead of prepping and cooking indoors. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle. With 45 weekly menu options, you can pick gourmet meals that fit your goals. Choose from Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, Keto, and more. Factor powers your day with satisfying breakfasts, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. It's easy to savor more this spring. Factor meals factor in the flavor with none of the fuss. Get started at factormeals.com/Cohn50off and use code Cohn50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's Cohn50off at factormeals.com/Cohn50off for 50% off plus free shipping.
I think the only way these guys even touch the field is if there's a ton of injury at the position. I think you're Ben Bar. I really think Burford is your swing guard. Bart starts. I think Humphries is your swing tackle. And I think they will with Brindell. Maybe Nick Zakelj is your backup center. But to me, you need to be drafting these guys early if you want talent. Now, the Niners have been known not to do that, right? With Colton McKivitz, Brindell was undrafted, correct? He was a project guy. They came to fruition. I don't know. I think offensively, I'm not as optimistic. Offensively, I don't know what they're going to be doing, particularly because the wide receiver position worries me a little bit. Like Brandon Ayuk, when is he going to come back? What's he going to look like? And I know we're going to get into positions and stuff, but that's one position I'm a little concerned about. So offensively, I think they'll be pretty close to the same, much better, obviously, if CMC is healthy. But having that defense has carried the 49ers in all their successful years under Kyle Shanahan. It's been the defense that's carried the team and got them to where they went. And so that's kind of the hope for this team this year with Robert Saleh and these new guys.
Yeah. I keep going back to the offensive line, and I feel like Kyle's done his best to sort of program Niner fans to believe it doesn't matter, which is amazing because the rest of the league seems to think it does. And so they got rid of Aaron Banks. And God, they were so they looked at Banks like they looked at McGlinchey, like, man, we took you in the second round and you're just not that good. And he's not great. He's not a Pro Bowl player. But I mean, over the last 2 seasons, he's given up 1 sack. So that's why he got $19 million a year from the Packers. He's a good player, not a great player. And now the replacement, maybe it's Ben Bartch. Better hope it's Ben Bartch, because if it's Spencer Burford, he didn't really play much last year. The year before, he gave up 6 sacks. The year before that, he gave up 5. And he was never a full-time player. So you're going from a solid left guard who's not going to get Brock Purdy hurt to a not-so-solid left guard who you don't know what's going to happen with him. So if Brock Purdy goes down, this team is so freaking screwed. Although I know, I'm the biggest Mac Jones fan, so I'm going to take that back. But you want to keep your quarterback healthy, especially if you're going to give him a lot of money.
I mean, it could be the opposite way, right? Burford could actually start at left guard, and Bartch could be your backup. Bartch doesn't have a long history of being able to stay healthy, and you want the guy that can stay healthy to probably be the starter. So it could be
for
Burford.
The sake of continuity, yeah.
Yeah, you could see Burford being the starter and maybe Bartch backing him up. But I do think either way, Burford and Bartch are both going to play at left guard this year, and I do think Humphreys is going to play at left tackle at some this year, just based on the history with Trent. I think this 49ers offensive line, they're like middle of the pack. They're not as bad as some fans think they are. They're not nearly as good as some people try to act like. Shout out to Rich Madrid. But I think they're like between like 15 and 20. I think that's what they were last year. We'll see if they develop this year. Colton McKivitz is in a contract year, so he might just ball out. He's going to get paid and be gone. Colton McKivitz is going to –
a motivated Colton McKivitz, watch out.
Yeah. Hey, real talk. He might.
No, but real talk, though, okay, so he might have a better year. He's been slowly improving. That's fair. Pooney could have a better year. Brendel's getting older. Trent's getting older. You got worse at left guard.